Hi everyone, I'm Allie Snow, and with me is HuskerOnline's Robin Washut. Well, Nebraska added another practice to the books today, just before they take on Penn State tomorrow in Lincoln. Now, the Nittany Lions are coming off a win over Indiana, but the Huskers a 6-game losing streak. How do they get some morale going?
Well, that's the big question right now is avoiding the whole issue of starting to feel sorry for yourself and expecting the worst. And you go back to the post game interview for Fred Hoiberg. That was one of the things he said is when they get in these 6 straight games, they've been down by at least 14 points. And eventually the mental toll that starts to take on a team, it becomes more real by the game. And so you got a Penn State team that's coming to town that makes you earn absolutely everything you get. What happens when that adversity hits again? Because it's going to. And Nebraska's ability to respond to that will ultimately decide if it's another blowout loss or if they're actually to keep it competitive and find a way to pull off an upset. And avoiding that, that oh no, here we go again moment is going to be so critical, and it gets harder and harder. I mean, this team has lost 6 in a row, and when you don't have that reward of winning, it's hard to come to practice every day and come to games every day with that same energy and intensity because you start kind of developing a defeatist mentality. And that's the biggest thing this team has to avoid over the next stretch, month, 5 to 6 weeks of the season. They play, I think, their next 5 of their next 6 games are against ranked teams, and right now the rest of the final 10 games of the schedule, only Northwestern ranks outside the top 40 in the Ken Pom rankings as we talk today. So, I mean, it's about as grueling of a month as you could possibly imagine for this team. And like I said, they've already are going through it right now with 6 straight losses. But they have to keep their heads up. They cannot fall into this trap of, basically assuming, that the season's over and there's nothing left to play for, because there is stuff to play for. I mean, it goes beyond just winning and losing games. It's about building momentum for next season. You got a lot of young guys that are playing pivotal roles in this rotation that are starting, like Kevin Cross and guys like that you're trying to get to a point to where next season they're ready to hit the ground running. And so, just because you're not having the wins and the success in the win column doesn't mean that there's still not a lot of opportunity still available for this team. And so how well they're able to just respond to that and keep their heads up and keep that same positivity and high morale will ultimately define what the rest of the season is.
And a very talented Penn State team coming tomorrow. We mentioned Lamar Stevens, offensive threat, but also on the defensive end. How does Nebraska handle that pressure?
Well, yeah, Penn State is as good of a defensive team as Nebraska's going to see all season. And, they're right up there with Rutgers as far as the most physical, tough, strong, aggressive teams on both ends of the floor. They lead the Big Ten in shots blocked. Mike Watkins, who I think he's come off the bench the last 5 games, he's their big center. He leads the Big Ten in blocked shots. And then they lead the Big Ten in steals. And they have, I can't remember the guard's name, but he leads the Big Ten in steals. And so, I mean, they have as difficult of a road for any team that comes against them offensively. And this is a Nebraska team that with the highs and lows that they've gone through this year, there's going to be stretches where Penn State is going to make life very difficult for them, especially if they're not spacing the floor, getting good ball movement, and hitting shots from the perimeter. That's where we talked about Kevin Cross earlier. He's been a huge addition off the bench the past couple games, 17 and 18 points the last 2 outings, and his 3-point shot has really come on to the point where Juwan Howard, who is as good as it gets as far as professional NBA bigs, called Kevin a dynamic big in his own right as a true freshman. So that needs to continue, especially in a game like this where spacing, ball movement, and perimeter shooting are, that's the only way Nebraska's going to win this game, because they're not going to just sit there and take the ball to the rim against Penn State. It's just not going to happen. So ball security and offensive flow, staying within the offense even when times get tough, that is the recipe. And how well they're able to accomplish that, will decide the outcome.
Well, Nebraska looks to snap its 6-game losing streak tomorrow night in Pinnacle Bank Arena. Tip-off between Penn State and Nebraska is set for 6 p.m. Central Time on BTN. But for HuskerOnline, I'm Allie Snow, alongside me, Robin Washut.